up, guys? EJ here, aka Puckbond007, and welcome back to the Movie Reviewers 100, this great collaboration channel here on YouTube that I am proud to be a part of. I hope everybody had a great holiday, had a great Christmas, and now the Movie Reviewers 100 has returned. And this week is Samuel L. Jackson week, and my good man Scott, aka Cineram, who does the Thursday reviews on this channel, suggested that I do a review of Django Unchained because I saw it just a couple days ago, and obviously Samuel L. Jackson is in that film. So I thought, why not? I didn't really feel like going back and trying to figure out what other Samuel L. Jackson movie I wanted to watch. The guy's a great actor, seemingly always working. The guy just appears in countless films every year. But yeah, I decided I'll do a review of Django Unchained for you guys. Now, obviously, Scott himself did a much better and in-depth review of Django Unchained himself to complete his Quentin Tarantino director series, and I'll put a link to that video in the description if you really want to see a very well thought out analysis of Django Unchained. That's the place to go, and obviously check out all his great videos. Scott's director series, especially the Tarantino one, was a great watch, and the guy just he knows his stuff, and he puts it into words a lot better than I can. I'm not going to go into the plot too much like I normally do in movie reviews. I just want to talk about what I liked and didn't like about the film. I'll start off saying a little bit about the story. Of course, Jamie Foxx plays Django, a slave in, I believe it takes place in 1860. It's pre-Civil War. Starts off somewhere in Texas. He's with a group of slaves who have been bought by a couple of brothers, and they're on their way to a certain place to sell them. And they run across Christophe Waltz character, Dr. King Schultz, who's posing as a dentist, but in fact he's a bounty hunter, and he needs Django's help to find one of his bounties. These three brothers who Django apparently used to work under. They're overseers at a new plantation, and Django was a slave under them at his old plantation. So he frees them. They become good friends, and in return for his freedom, Django agrees to help Christophe Waltz find these three brothers, and in turn Christophe Waltz will help Django find his wife, Broomhilda, played by Kerry Washington. Yeah, so that basically starts off the story. They become friends. Django becomes a natural at bounty hunting after a few hiccups at first. And the first half of the film is really about the two of them and their friendship and how that forms, and Django learning the ropes of bounty hunting. And like Scott said, the film is really split into these two halves, and I think I like the first half as much as the second half of the film. The second half of the film mainly focuses on Candyland, run by Leonardo DiCaprio as Calvin Candy, a slave owner, the biggest plantation in the South. I'm forgetting the state now. I believe it was, I want to say like Virginia, but I know that's wrong. But anyway, yeah, that's where his wife Broomhilda is being held, and they form this plan. They pose as Mandingo fighters, interested in buying Mandingo fighters, black slaves who fight for money, and their owners bet on them, and so on. And that's their whole ruse to get into the plantation to find his wife and get her out of there. So yeah, yeah, I loved the first half. I thought the dialogue between Christoph Waltz and Django was great, and every scene that Christoph Waltz is in is just a joy to watch. Scott basically said that Christoph Waltz is doing a very similar character to he did that he did in Inglourious Bastards, which is very true. But he was great in Inglourious Bastards, and I thought he was amazing here again. He has so many great moments, so many great lines. I loved his horse Fritz. There's great little moments whenever he introduces his horse. He sort of gets away with murder in the middle of the street when he guns down the sheriff, and the way he gets out of that is just priceless. And that sort of brings the to the end of the first half, the scene where they get to the plantation where these three brothers are, and the scene after that involving the KKK is one of the best scenes of the year. It was my favorite scene in the movie. Jonah Hill has a great cameo during this scene. The dialogue during that scene is just hilarious, and it has a great payoff. And Don Johnson plays Big Daddy, the owner of the plantation, is in that scene as well. I thought it was just fantastic. As for the second half of the film, Leonardo DiCaprio is just great in this film, and Samuel L. Jackson is as well. Samuel L. Jackson plays his head house, and I don't even like saying the N-word quote. So, but early on in the film, Jamie Foxx says that the only thing worse than a black slave owner, which he poses to be, as part of this ploy to get into Candyland, the only thing worse than a slave owner who's African American is the head house African American, if you like, and that's what Samuel L. Jackson plays at Candyland. He's the one who sort of runs the household. He's in charge of all the other slaves, all the other workers, the housekeepers, and so on. And he's sort of like a friend and a confidant to Leonardo DiCaprio's character. He's in his ear the entire time. When there's this great dinner scene where Django is just sort of holding back. He doesn't want to be discovered. Great long dialogue scene, and Samuel L. Jackson is standing right there, right next to Leonardo DiCaprio, in his ear, sort of advising him on what to do. So he's almost an equal, at least in DiCaprio's eyes. That's what it seems like. But obviously he's a slave himself. He's been working there, I believe 70 years, he said, something like that. And Jackson just basically steals every scene he's in. He has some of the biggest laughs in the film. His character is just very quick to sort of scold his fellow slaves, and it's a great performance by Jackson. He's almost unrecognizable at first, looking old, has sort of a white hair, and carries a cane and walks around, hobbles around. His first interaction when Django and Dr. Schultz show up to the plantation, and they're going to be invited in as guests. That's a great reaction from Jackson. Yeah, he basically steals the second half of the film, I thought. So yeah, that's basically the outline of the basic plot. So what I liked, I thought it was a blast. It was a blast from beginning to end. The dialogue is great. The acting is great all around. Like I said, Christoph Waltz was amazing, I thought. Jamie Foxx was very good. Leo was great. Sort of a different role for him. And Samuel L. Jackson was awesome as well. Yeah, it's just a very interesting film. I did think it was too long though. It's almost 3 hours, and it fills it. My screening started at like 9:20, and I got out at like 12:15. So yeah, it was 2 hours 40 minutes, and it felt like 3 hours. It was a long film, and it did feel like some of the film could have used some trimming in both the second half and the first half. But there's so much going on, and you're so immersed in this great world that Tarantino places all these great characters and this great dialogue in. Um, I also didn't love the music. I like the music overall, but there were certain songs and certain cues that sort of caught me off guard. I just didn't sort of really feel that they fit with the scene and the tone of the movie. The action violence is very interesting in that it's at times very shocking and fast and quick. There's one scene towards the end that really sort of caught me off guard when it first started happening, and it's over like that. And but it's bloody and great. There's some great shots with the blood. There's a couple of prolonged shootouts, but most of the violence is very sudden and sort of very quick, in your face, sort of. But yeah, it's great fun. I don't think it's Tarantino's best. It's one of the best films of the year. It's on my top 10 list. But I'd put it behind films like pretty much all his other films except for Death Proof. Um, Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill, Inglourious Bastards. I all like more than this film. But even though I sort of gave it a similar rating, I gave it a 9 out of 10. And I've given all his films 9 out of 10 except for Pulp Fiction, which was a 10 for me, and Death Proof, which was a 7. But it's the low end of the 9s, I put it at. Yeah, it's great fun. If you get a chance to see it, I highly recommend it. Yeah, and Samuel L. Jackson stole his scenes the second half of the film. So that is my Django Unchained review. Thank you for watching as always. Make sure you check out everybody else's videos this week. I don't know if everybody's doing one. I'm not sure. I don't think Alan has done one yet. He's probably busy with the holiday and his family and so on. So again, I would like to thank Alan again for inviting me to be part of this collaboration channel this year. It's been great fun doing these reviews and talking about great movies, and seeing what the other guys have been talking about in each of these theme weeks we've done. So look forward to a great 2013, and until next time, I'll see ya.
Bond. James Bond.